Hey, how's it going, everybody? Remi Sovran here from RemiSovran.com. In today's new video, I thought I would do something a little bit different. And what I thought I would do is give you guys some insight into how I assess and break down deadlift technique and form. And so what I've done in this video is I've taken a number of videos, deadlift videos that I posted either to Instagram or YouTube recently, and I put them all together into this video. And what I'm going to do is just kind of assess and break down my technique and show you guys some of the good things and bad things that I'm doing, and just kind of give you some insights as to what I'm looking out for or what to look out for when deadlifting. And I thought it would just be a good example just as myself, just because I'm someone that has kind of got back to deadlifting, specifically heavy, at least in my case of what I consider heavy, after suffering a severe lower back injury. And so my technique and form isn't 100%, I'd say, perfect yet, and especially as I go up in weight, I'm going to start to get kind of breakdowns in my technique and form, which is going to start showing indications of areas that I need to work on in terms of maybe certain muscle weaknesses that I need to address, or maybe some subtle technique flaws in terms of positioning of my hips, my feet, or whatever the case may be. So in this first video here, it was a deadlift, a sumo deadlift that I was performing on May 20th. So this is pretty recently. And so the only difference between a sumo deadlift and conventional deadlift, pretty much, the big difference at least, is in a sumo you're taking a wider stance. So as you take a wider stance, your feet are much further away from each other. And as you take that wider stance, you decrease your height and you get closer to the bar. So as you get closer to the bar, that bar path is going to decrease, so the bar doesn't have to travel as much. So kind of the time under tension will be slightly less when compared to a conventional deadlift when your feet are close together. At the same time, in this video, I also have bumper plates elevating the bar as well. And the reason that I have these bumper plates elevating the bar is just because I wasn't 100% comfortable yet lifting from the ground, especially lifting 365 here. This was the first time lifting 365 on sumo, and so I wasn't 100% comfortable just lifting from the ground yet. So I do have a subtle technique breakdown in this video, which I will show you in a second, and it has to do with my lower back, just kind of the positioning of it. And so I'll play it here. And so what we're going to see here is me just kind of preparing for the deadlift, getting ready for it, and right here is where the kind of technique breakdown is occurring. So what we can see here, if we look to my lower back, right here I'm going into an extension, low back extension. I got some little bit of a lower back extension occurring. My hips are pretty low in this position, and in a sense I'm getting into almost a kind of squatting position to kind of squat the bar instead of deadlifting it. And you'll see what happens with regards to my hips in a second. So if I break this down, I'm just going to play it quickly once, but my butt pops up. Now it may have been a little bit quick to show you, but I'll kind of get back to that position. So here I am, I go into an extension kind of position here, I arch my back, my low back, and if we break this down slowly, my butt pops. So as you can just see there, my butt popped up, and now my back has flattened out and it's gotten to a better position. So in a sense, what's happening here is the quads are kind of initiating the movement. The quads here are initiating the movement. If we could see that one more time, the quads here are kind of pushing that initial lift upwards, and it's causing my butt to pop upwards. And then my back essentially flattens out at this point after kind of being in that arch position, and then it kind of corrects itself, and then the rest of the lift, I'm fine, my back's in a good position, I finish the lift fine. So the problem with going into that extension position or having that kind of hard arch at the beginning of the lift is what ends up happening is, so right there I got that arch, what ends up happening is over time, when lifting heavy weight, specifically doing something like this, like 365 pounds, and kind of arching the lower back going into an extension position, it could stress the facet joints a lot. It could place a lot of stress onto those facet joints, and over time that could maybe lead to an arthritic joint or developing some sort of arthritis to those joints over time. But at the same time, we do have that subtle technique flaw where the quads are overpowering the initial kind of portion of the lift. And so strengthening kind of the posterior chain as well would be important. So focusing on the low back, glutes, hamstrings, and also developing the core would be essential and beneficial as well to this, which those are just kind of some indications as to what I may need to work on. But essentially putting my hips in just a higher position, as opposed to being so low where I'm trying to squat the bar here. Would kind of eliminate that extension position, and it would put me in a better position to actually perform the deadlift. So there's kind of a subtle kind of just little form technique or breakdown occurring on the sumo deadlift for myself that I just wanted to kind of point out. So essentially the key takeaway there, just my hips were a little bit low, which were causing my kind of quads to initiate the movement. And so I was kind of starting it as a little bit of a squat, and then my back was kind of arching, and I was getting into the extension position, which would not be good in the long run, especially if you do that over time consistently. And so then my back kind of flattened out or straightened out as I kind of got that initial lift off the floor there. But putting my hips in a higher position would kind of clean that up for myself. But moving on to the next video here. So here's just a video of me performing a 315 conventional for 1 repetition. So in this video, I actually have no problems. My form is actually solid. My technique is fine. I'll play that one more time. But everything's solid in this video here. I don't really have any issues with it. My back is in a good position. So here I am, just kind of stiffening, getting the lats engaged, kind of getting my whole back stiff, getting the core engaged. And then I'm lifting. My back's in a good position there. Everything looks pretty solid there. And if I go back to that, I'll just play that one more time for you guys. And then I finish it, no problem, get the lockout nice and good, and then slowly kind of drop it. So overall, nothing really wrong with that 315 conventional, which I performed on May 31st. It was the first time actually performing conventional 315 from the floor, and I was really happy with that weight. Now here's me doing 365 from the floor conventional. So if we look at this now, I actually kind of struggled here with the lockout, which is the big thing. So here I am preparing for it, get the lift going, get it up, and here I kind of struggled to lock the weight out. So as you can see, kind of my butt's kind of, I'm not kind of completely locked out here. It's kind of slightly slouched a bit. And if we kind of bring this back to that position, so I get the bar up here. So everything there is fine. So from the floor to the top here, everything was fine. And then as you can see, I slightly drop backwards. If we can look at that again, pay attention to here, my kind of my back and my butt here, it slowly drops. And then I kind of correct myself a bit and I get it. And I kind of get a better grip of the bar. So when I performed this, I'd almost lost grip of the bar. I'm not used to 100% kind of lifting 365 at a time, so it's more of just a little bit of a strength issue in terms of a grip strength issue for me to lock that bar out and kind of getting my hips through also. So that was just kind of a subtle issue going on there, nothing too serious, but just slight problems with the lockout going on. And then if we go to, here's an attempt at 385 that I actually failed on, and I kind of just gave up on the lift myself. So what we see here is I'm getting ready to perform it, and I get it up and drop it. So I'll play it from the beginning one more time, and as you can see, I'm walking in pretty casually. So I didn't have the proper mindset going into this when lifting 385, and what I ended up doing here is I ended up getting the lift off the ground slightly. But when I was going through the lift, I knew that the lift was just going to be a struggle. It was going to be a fight to get it upwards. And so I didn't want to kind of go through that whole struggle or fight, so I just dropped the bar. I'm like, forget it. There's no need to kind of push it or push this weight through that in terms of it, because it was going to be a struggle. But I may have got it if I had the right mindset and I was better prepared for it, which leads me to my last video. And this is me performing 375, and this is probably one of my best lifts of this day. So this is all the same day, keep in mind, on May 31st. So 375 here. So there I am, and I get 375 solid, no problems, good technique and everything. And so that was much better, in my opinion, than the 365 that I had previously performed, and also the 385, which was just going to be a struggle. So here's me performing 375, and I was fired up for this video, or sorry, I was fired up for this lift, and I got myself better mentally prepared, and I ended up kind of hitting the lift for just a solid 375. No real form or technique issues that I have with this. It was solid, but it just probably goes to show you that I may have been able to hit that 385 if I was better prepared. But overall, that's good, and that's kind of it for this video and some of the deadlift technique and kind of assessment that I wanted to show you in terms of what I kind of may look out for, some of the things I may have been doing good and bad with my recent deadlift kind of videos or deadlift sessions that I have gone through. And okay guys, so if you guys would like to see more videos like this, or if you're someone that is currently deadlifting or got back to deadlifting, or you're kind of just looking to maybe make a journey to powerlifting or something, I'd kind of love to hear your story or whatnot with regards to your deadlift technique and form, and if you had maybe any issues with your deadlift technique and this video helped you out, just kind of love to hear about that. And also, if you want to see kind of more videos like this, or maybe kind of assessments or technique kind of videos where I kind of go into detail about, be sure to leave a comment or thumbs up on the video. And that's it for today's video, guys. So all the best and take care.